Welcome, my mommy, my baby fam, to the third episode of Thrive Mommy Her Story, and we have a treat for you. I am Nurse Cole, your owner and founder of My Mommy, My Baby, and I'm also your host of this channel. We encourage moms to thrive. We do this by helping them to be supported as they develop. We also help to inspire, we empower, and we are just there for the whole journey of motherhood, y'all. So if you are interested in getting plugged into that, go to our website at www.mymommymybaby.org and check us out. So our guest today is somebody that some of you may know her face. She is a mom of two. She is a wife. She is an entrepreneur. She is a content creator. And she describes herself as chill, an advocate, and fun, y'all. She like to have fun. So I would like to welcome Amani Randall from Married at First Sight. Amani Randall. So thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here with you.
Yes. So tell me this. What made you decide to say, yes, I want to share my life with the world in this way?
I think once we were able to open up our profiles after getting married at first sight, it was an overwhelming amount of people messaging me about how much hearing my story and getting to know me on TV, how much it really resonated with them. And it made me feel like, well, I'm just being myself. So it is kind of weird at first, but to actually hear people say that they learned something from my journey and wanted to get to know me more, it was kind of like, okay, well, let's just dive into it and give people a little bit more to learn about Amani.
I really give the people what they want.
Yeah.
Yes, and we want more. So tell me this, what are your current roles that you play? I mean, we know, of course, that you're a wife and a mom, but what other roles do you play?
I am a sister, an older sister.
Okay.
I am a daughter. I am a mentor, a friend. I play a lot of different roles.
And does the same Amani show up in all those spaces the same way, or does Amani kind of look a little different? I know your core values stay the same, but
I think it depends on who. Yeah, definitely switches up a little bit. Like I can be a little bit more silly with my sisters or with my friends, and then like with my dad or my mom, I'm still like their baby, so I'm a little bit more like reserved with them and still seeking some sort of approval from my parents, so I'm still working through how I show up in different spaces. But like you said, to my core, I'm always Amani and leading with my heart. But I'm definitely a little more fun and more in different situations.
Yeah, I love though the transparency. That you said that you're still seeking approval in some senses from your parents. A lot of people don't recognize that when you show up as understanding who you are, that's where growth happens, because you recognize that you're able to kind of work through it. So thank you for sharing that little nugget.
Yeah.
So if you are still seeking approval from your parents, it's okay.
It is.
Because we are a work in progress.
We are. And I think just, like every part of us still wants our parents to be like, oh, you're doing a good job, So I think everybody has a little bit of like, I want my parents to be okay with who I've turned out to be,
It's true. And I bet you they would say that they are so proud of you. I'm sure.
Yeah.
So let's dive a little bit deeper. Like, just kind of tell me about your childhood a little bit. Like, what was your upbringing? Who raised you? What did that look like? What did little baby Amani look like?
Baby Amani kind of looks like rain. That is literally my twin. But as far as like how I was raised, I was born in California, Northern California. So all my dad's family lives there and my mom's family's from Chicago. So I was raised in Chicago. We moved back to Chicago about 6 or 7. And my mom was a single mom up until I was like 9. So I grew up with a single mom and she gave me everything. Worked really hard to make sure I had what I needed, went to good schools, and she ended up getting married and then starting a life with her husband, and they have 3 children together. So we have like a huge gap.
Yeah.
There's like 9, and then baby every 2 years after that. So they're all really close in age, my siblings. And then I was, all by myself for a long time.
So you are 9 years older than all your siblings?
9, 11, and then 13 years older than them. Because they all are like
that's true.
stair steppers.
Wow. So what was that like? Just as far as them looking at you as a sibling, so to sense, but being that big of an age gap, almost like looking at you like a motherly type figure.
It definitely was a lot of pressure. Honestly, because my family were middle class, we didn't have like a lot, but we didn't, we didn't struggle. We
Yeah.
had enough. I couldn't do a lot of things like extracurricular activities because, you got to maintain 4 kids. So I was the caretaker for when my parents had to work. I came home immediately after school because I got to make sure my siblings are taken care of. We can't do like aftercare and all those things. So I did take on a huge caretaker role with them, and it was a burden a lot growing up. I think now I am appreciative of the connection that we have, like now that they're adults, but it was a lot to be able to say that I couldn't really be like a regular teen or, do like sports or after school activities. It was a lot to have to sacrifice that. And I didn't really understand it as a kid.
Yeah. So what were your interests growing up? Did you have something that you wanted to do or a sport you wanted to play you get to do?
Definitely. I wanted to run track.
Okay.
I ran track a little bit with our local, it was like a local community center in middle school.
Mhm.
And then I also wanted to do acting, so like plays and drama and things like that. But all of that required you to stay after school. And I needed to be home by the time my little sister got off her school bus.
Mm.
So it was like none of that was even possible.
So would you say that acting is still one of your passions?
It is.
Ooh,
It is. It
okay,
really
put it
is.
out
It's a little secret.
there.
It's a little secret.
Hit Amani up for
Yeah,
acting.
hit me up. Hit me up.
Okay.
Like I would
Okay.
gladly take acting seriously now in my adulthood if I had the
Oh,
opportunity.
I can see it.
Really?
What kind of roles would you want to play with acting? Would you want to be like the bad girl? Like,
I'm kind of interested in being like giving variety. I think if I took classes and really dived into that part of me, because I feel like my personality can kind of switch in different ways. I feel like I have that flexibility to do that, especially if I could just tap into a character and it's not really me. Yeah, I want to do it all.
Ooh, she said she will. Okay, so let me ask you this: would you have boundaries around, like,
Like
love
sex
scenes?
scenes?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that probably would be the one thing that would make me feel a little like reserved because I'm just already not really like a sexually expressive person.
Really?
No, like with my spouse,
Because you
yes.
seem so like sultry.
I mean, I think I just
Like,
give off sultry, but don't ask me about sex
It's
on
an
camera.
illusion.
Don't ask me about it. I feel like, because like when we were filming, I was the one that was like, we're not talking about sex on camera. Like, my parents are watching this, like it was, I've just never, I didn't come from a space of where women were really freely talking about sexual endeavors. So all of that just seems like you're supposed to not talk about that. And I think that's just always been how I am. Like, keep some of that, private.
Keep it in the bedroom.
Yeah.
But y'all to come out the bedroom though, right?
Absolutely.
Y'all, okay.
We
You
come
need
out-
to come out the
got
bedroom.
to.
In the living room.
Yeah.
This is important, and there's the spice.
Exactly.
And trust me, it's not easy with having, I know that
2
you now
kids.
have 2 children.
Yeah.
That is amazing. So let me say this. I went back and watched little pieces of y'all of the episodes, and I remember you was like, oh, I want kids, but not right now.
Yeah.
And then you
Girl, and look at me. What happened? I'm still trying to figure it out.
Well, sex.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's usually what happens.
You know.
But with that being said, I'm sure now that you have the 2 children, I'm sure there's been a kind of a shift, in the marriage and being able to kind of really pour into each other the way you would want. Kind of talk about that a little bit.
I think it's taken a lot of intention for us to, like prioritize each other. We have to in order to make it work. I think because we have to remember, like, after the kids grow up, they're going to leave us for their own families. So we've been trying to make sure that we are prioritizing the marriage first and then the kids. Because when the marriage is happy, I feel like the kids benefit from that.
It's an
So,
overflow effect.
yeah,
It really is.
that's been our goal.
So, what kind of things, I guess, have you put in place? Because also, just being a woman, you have needs, and then, of course, as a mother, you have needs as well. So, how have you been able to kind of like navigate that water with being a woman first, knowing that you have things that you desire and require,
Mhm.
but also knowing that you have to pour so much effort and energy into these beautiful babies that you have
Yeah.
that we love watching, Rain and Rye, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are so beautiful.
Thank you.
But just because they're beautiful don't mean they're not exhausting.
Woo, baby. They take a lot out of you, like every day. It's a lot. And I think I've been prioritizing myself, getting to know me a little bit more because you know how you change after having a baby? It's like you're still your same person, like to the core, but there are different things that, like, I don't like the same things anymore that I did before having kids. So I've had to like spend time with myself, by myself, so that I can get to know me a little bit more, so that I can then articulate what I need from my partner, what I need from my kids, what I need from my village, in order to feel like I'm, giving myself what I deserve and what I need.
That's so good, because if you don't know yourself, you really cannot tell somebody how to treat you.
Yeah.
And what have you learned that you need, that you enjoy?
I've learned that I need a lot of space. I need a little more space than I thought I did.
Yeah.
And they require a lot of energy. And I need to recharge myself. So I've learned that if I go too long without having just some alone time, whether that's going out by myself to Target, and not necessarily grocery shopping or doing things for the house, but just being myself and frolicking in the aisles and looking at whatever I want. I need a couple hours to just be and not be thinking about like how I am as a wife and how I am as a mother. I need to just be Amani for some hours. Yeah.
I'm glad you said that, because I say it all the time that there's Courtney and then there's Mama Courtney. And Mama Courtney really does have to, you talked a little bit about putting on like this kind of, not necessarily a mask, but you do have to like make sure that you're showing up the way you need to show up for your babies.
Yeah.
And sometimes that doesn't leave space for you to show up exactly authentically how you feel in the moment, because then they don't want to see you losing your stuff all day. Let's just be honest.
What's wrong with her?
Right. Like crazy. So when you have those moments when you're home, I used to call them my runaway moments. So like I would go and walk down the street or whatever. I get on the phone with our friends, like, let's just book a trip.
Please.
Let's go to the beach.
Let's
go. We would plan so much that didn't happen, but we typically did go on a trip at least once a year, though. A girlfriend trip, even when my babies were little. But I would always say that one trip a year is not enough for you to then go back and get in the same situation where you feel like you want to run away again.
Yeah.
So doing motherhood in a way that you can basically plan out what your self-care and self-love moments look like in the midst of raising babies.
Yes.
So what does that look like for you?
Yeah, because like you're saying, like you don't want it to be an emergency like situation. Like, I gotta take care of myself. I'm about to lose it. So I've been every day is something a little bit different. Like I might take a really long shower, and just kind of like deep dive into myself and make sure that I'm prioritizing my skincare and drinking water, just like the little things, like those things kind of keep you going so that you can make it to when you can travel with your girlfriends or when you can get out the house for longer periods of time. I have to make sure that I'm doing the little things so that I can, have a little reserve for when you actually need it.
So talk to me about what those pregnancies look like with both of them, and then a little bit about your birth experience and just kind of what that journey looks like for you.
Yeah, pregnancy, I didn't really enjoy pregnancy.
I'm so happy that you feel comfortable enough to say that.
Yeah.
That is okay.
I think a lot of women loved pregnancy, and then when I wasn't enjoying it, I'm like, what's wrong with me? Like I'm supposed to be like glowy and excited and like, I think the only thing that I really loved about pregnancy was the fact that I knew that I was growing a human inside of me.
Mhm.
Like how powerful, how beautiful, how divine to be creating life in your body. And
Mhm.
then after that, it was like, okay, well, the rest of it, you
Keep
can
going.
keep it. Like, just create the baby and hurry up and get the baby out because I couldn't drink water without vomiting.
Oh, with both of them.
Both. And I love water.
So
Like,
the whole pregnancy.
whole pregnancy.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
it stopped, like I wouldn't be vomiting all the time, but like the nauseous
Mm.
feeling after drinking water consistently throughout the pregnancy.
That's so
Always,
common too.
yeah.
Sometimes lemon helps. Like if you squeeze some, that
None
didn't
of
help.
it.
Nothing.
Lemon, ice water, whatever.
Oh.
I tried all the tricks. Eventually, I found out that like sparkling water helped a little bit more, but I hate sparkling
Me
water.
too.
It's like, why is it sparkling?
And why are you putting flavors in water?
Why?
It's just water.
Just drink it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, pregnancy, it just wasn't fun. I'm
Yeah.
achy. It's just,
You
I
didn't
could do
like
without. I could
the whole your
skip it.
belly stretching out to here. You didn't like the swollen feet and none of
Mm-mm.
that. Wasn't
Ankles
fun.
hurting, back hurting, can't sleep.
Okay. Yeah.
I could skip that.
Yeah, definitely a challenge.
Yeah.
So, what did your birth look like? I know Rain is first. Rain is 2.
Rain is 2.
Yes.
Yes.
So, what did his birth look like?
It was honestly beautiful. I had home births for both my babies.
That's amazing.
And I prioritized myself because we're not safe in the hospitals or as safe as, they want us to feel. And I wanted to make sure that somebody was going to be protecting me. And if that means I need to be at home, then I'm going to be at home. So with Rain's birth, I think I didn't realize it until I had Rye that I wasn't as confident in myself during his birth. Like, I think it could have been, like, my laboring could have been faster if I had trust in my body.
Oh, I love that. Say that one more time.
My laboring could have been faster if I had trust in my body. And I didn't. I was afraid. I was afraid to push. I was afraid of ripping. Like, I was just afraid of all the things that people have told me about laboring and then the contractions. And it was scary. And I had never done it before, clearly. So I'm like, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what I was supposed to feel. And it's hard to prepare for something when you don't really know what's going to happen. So I was afraid during the laboring. And once I actually tapped into like, you can do this and you got this, it was like smooth sailing. I'm like, the baby is, out. Like, we were ready.
Yeah, really leaning into that. Like, I love how you said that when you really leaned into it, because it is hard. Like, it's not an easy thing. I had my last 2 babies natural as well. Yeah. And when you don't exactly know what's going on, even if you do know, just in those moments, it's so hard to allow your body to do what it's naturally designed to do.
Yeah. And mentally, you gotta check out of like the insecurities that you're having or like the fear. And I had to be like, girl, you got this. Like, your body is designed for this. And then after that, it was like, okay, great. And Rain was born on call. So he came out in his sack.
Oh, wow.
So it was like, I don't know if you know, but like they say that that's like, it's like they're born with a veil. So and then in that sense, they're like this being that is,
like special.
Yeah, a special being. And so like to know that my baby came out with this special sense about him, like it just felt like meant to be. Like, I'm meant to be his mom. He's meant to be my baby. And I cannot wait. Yes, my mommy, my baby. I cannot wait to see his life come to fruition because he's like already, I know everybody feels like that. Like, my baby's special.
Look,
but
my baby
is special. Rain is honestly, he's truly a gift.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about his personality as you're seeing it, like, kind of flourish and blossom. Like, what are you seeing? Like, 'cause I feel like as a mom, you almost have like this special insight into your children's lives.
Hmm.
Like, what do you see for Rain?
I see him as a leader. Like
Mhm.
he's very vocal about his needs and his wants. And honestly, it bothers me sometimes because I'm like, relax,
Mhm.
And he's very demanding, but also like, you know what you want. And he's not afraid to go get it.
Oh, that's
And
good.
I
That sound like honestly both of you guys.
Yes, the determination
Yes.
is there. Yeah, I'm excited for him.
Okay. And then Rye, you had him natural as well at
I
home.
did.
And
Rye was
was that labor quicker?
quick because
Yeah.
I had already trusted myself before. So I'm like, I know what to expect. I know what I need. And let's get this baby out. And Rye came out breech
Serious? At home?
at home.
Wow.
Yes.
Did you feel a difference in the pain or just the feeling of him coming out with him being breech?
Not
It
at
felt no
all.
different.
Not at all. There was no difference. I was actually more comfortable with Rye coming out, probably because I had gotten in the water at that point and we had, kind of relaxed in the tub for a bit. But maybe a few minutes after I got in the tub, it was time to push because I had already knew I'm like, I'm not gonna make it much longer. They were filling up the tub. I'm walking around the house laboring. Like I'm like, y'all,
I'm about to
this
deliver.
baby is coming. Y'all might want to hurry up with that water, turn it up a little bit. They were trying to rush to get it all together. As soon as I got in the tub, it was like, okay, are we all ready? Because this baby's on its way
You
out.
are such a strong woman.
Thank you.
Like, wow. To deliver a breech baby at home in a tub.
That's why I tell people,
Hats
I'm
off.
like, they be lying. You do not have to get cut open for everything.
And see, it's so funny because I don't know if you know this, I'm a labor and delivery nurse. And
Mhm.
so I did that for about the first 9 years of my nursing career.
Yeah.
And I saw so much. But because I saw so much and I also know what women's bodies are capable of, it's very hard to really subscribe to the lie that you have to be cut for every
Mhm.
breech delivery.
Yeah.
Because I will tell you this, that if you were going to, I'm not sure what you did with prenatal care and stuff like that, but they would have definitely scheduled you a C-section.
Baby. Yeah.
Definitely.
And he wasn't breached the entire time
So
because,
he turned at the end.
baby, what are you in there doing?
What did you feel him turn? Because he's so big at that point. So he must have done it in your sleep. Because
I don't know what happened.
yeah.
He came out feet first though. Feet kind of booty first.
So he was like footling breech is what we call it.
Yeah, it was like his little butt came out and then
Yeah.
his legs popped out.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, yeah. So he was breech. He was frank breech. So I'm happy though that you had already had a previous baby because sometimes it is a little bit harder just because you don't get that pressure of that hard head on your cervix.
Yeah.
So it really
Yeah.
happened the way it was supposed to.
It did.
Mhm.
It really did. And I trusted myself, trusted my body, and the environment was key to being at home. I felt more comfortable. I know my surroundings. It was true.
Did you have a midwife there?
I did. My midwife was there.
That's
I have
good.
my doula. Well, my doula. I didn't have a doula the second time, but yep,
That's perfect.
it was honestly perfect.
And how did Woody react to seeing his wife deliver two babies natural like that?
At home, I think he was like amazed at my ability. He's like, "Girl, what?"
Like I knew I married a woman, but I didn't know I married
you really pushed these babies. I saw and he after that point, he's like, kudos to women and hats off to y'all because y'all go through so much. And I think that kind of anchored us in a way because you know how you know that people are capable of doing things, but to actually see them do it, it was like, oh yeah, girl.
Yeah,
I believe in you. Yeah.
So I'm gonna backtrack a little bit because I want to go back to, of course, you got married at first sight, which I think people don't. At least me, I look at shows like that and I'm kind of like, oh, is this really real? Did she really not know him? Did he really not know her? And then also, kind of like in your teenage and young adult years, what brought you to making that decision that okay, I'm going to get married this way and it's going to be okay? Because obviously it's working. I mean, obviously. So I love that. that you all are still married in real life. And so
it's real.
It's real life.
It's
real life. Real kids.
Real life. Okay. Nobody's pretending. Somebody actually DM'd me not long ago and said, when are y'all gonna just tell us that y'all were plants? I was like,
plants.
The nerve. Like you know how people get, you know, like placed on a show to give good ratings.
Wow.
Like an industry plant.
Yeah.
That's what they said. I was like, the nerve of you to say to my life,
especially
my real
when you
life.
living your real life every day with all the joys, the fears, the struggles,
the fake.
Like how did you respond?
I didn't.
Yeah, that's
I didn't. It's like, you know, girl, whatever.
So that person is watching.
Yeah. Hey.
Don't say ugly things like that.
And I mean, I guess to their defense, we did meet before we got married.
Okay.
We didn't know that we were going to get married to each other, but we met 2 weeks before our marriage.
I think I might vaguely. Did they come out on the show?
I think we told it on our YouTube channel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we met 2 weeks before we got married, and he was flirting. You know, it was a flirty situation. But I knew I was getting married to somebody. So it was like, you know, I ain't gonna really entertain this guy. He wasn't doing too much. He was just a nice guy and had, you know, extended like he went and got my food for me. I had been a little flustered. I was bartending at the time on the side, and he went and got my food. I was like, that's a nice guy, you know. He was just pleasant. And then fast forward 2 weeks later, I see him at the end of the night. I'm like, I know him from somewhere, but I just don't know where. But it was like, whatever. If I knew him from something bad, then I would have known. Yeah. Like, you know, you're like, well, I don't really know, but whatever. Then at the end of the night, we're laying in the bed together after our wedding, and then it dawned on him. He was like, I gave you lamb chops.
Not lamb chops.
Yes.
You know, the funny thing about lamb chops, they say, like, you know, you go into the lounges when you get lamb chops.
Yes, it was a lamb chop situation. He went and got my food from the chef, who was his friend at the time. And I was like, that was you. And then after that, it kind of just felt like, okay, this is supposed to be. Yeah. Like, you know, like that's just too coincidental. Like, no, this is purposeful. God definitely put us together. So,
wow.
But I think that was not part of your question.
It's okay. No, it was good. I just was kind of asking like about like Amani underneath it all. Like what even like drove you to make that such a fearless decision? I'm sure it had some fear attached to it, but just that bold decision like that.
Honestly, I was tired of dating. Like, it's exhausting dating in New Orleans. Guys are just toxic. They don't want anything more than just like something casual. Yeah. And I was tired of that because I deserve more than that.
Yes, you do.
I just kept running into the same story. Like, you know, I'm just trying to see. I'm not trying to see nothing. Yeah. Okay, I'm tired. Next. And I was so used to just, if something didn't go right, cutting people off. Like, I'm not going to text back. I'm just going to ghost. I was being toxic in that way as well. But like if red flags were flagging, I was just immediately gone. And like not giving people, not giving people a chance to, you know, make an excuse for it, just like gone. But also, I could have probably worked with some people, you know, giving people grace, but it was just like, I'm out of here. You're not giving me what I'm interested in. So I think being married at first sight has definitely made me grow up a little bit because, like, we're married. I can't just run. You know?
But you're a runner, you're a track
star.
I'm a
runner. I'm a track star. I will run.
Look, that's because you didn't run track, girl.
Right. Now I'm running out of every relationship. I'm out of here. Yeah.
Okay. So
I was really interested in going deeper and having a partner and doing the things, you know, building a life with somebody, but I was not finding that. So I'm like, well, why not get matched with somebody? It made me feel a little bit more secure because they're doing background checks. True. We're filling out an application, and at least this guy whoever, if they match me, wants to be married. I keep running into God who doesn't want to be married, who, like, at least this guy wants to be married. That's already a step further for me in
That's
my
true.
eyes. He
That is
wants
true.
to have a committed relationship. And I was looking for that. And I think I also have the personality that's like, go with the flow. So I can do something, and if it doesn't work out, it's not going to break me.
That's good.
So I think
very
that,
versatile.
yeah, if I go into this, it's not the end of the world. If it doesn't work out, it's going to be okay. I don't think that works for everybody. So I wouldn't recommend this process for everybody. But I think my personality worked for this kind of situation.
Yeah. So really, you really speak about like a concept called failing forward. And so there's no such thing as really not, it's no such thing as not being successful as long as you're trying, as long as you're on your path and your journey. It may look like a failure to us, but it's really just part of your journey. And this was clearly
something from everything.
Definitely part of your journey.
Yes, for sure.
Because y'all are interesting on this season, honestly. And then tell me about this. So once y'all met, of course, the cameras stopped rolling clearly at some point. And once, like the next day after decision day, what did that look like for you? Were you like,
I think the very next day we were like, woo, finally done with that. Sick of this. I was sick of the people, the cameras being in our house. It was, it was a lot. It's like, okay, we can finally get to being us and being however we want to be without somebody watching. And then after that, it's like, oh, wait. We like really married. We like really got to do this.
Pastor Cal not coming in here to coach us.
Nobody's coming. We got to figure this out by ourselves. And at that point, it was like, okay, wait. Are we really doing this? Do we really know everything that we're supposed to know before they left? You start questioning, like, did we do all the things before they took the training wheels from us? Like, did we do what we were supposed to do? Are we prepared to be married?
Because remind me, what's the time frame from the marriage to the decision day?
It's supposed to be 8 weeks. Okay. Ours was 16 weeks because of COVID.
Yes.
So we had an extended process. We were sitting in the house looking at each other for an extra 8 weeks, and we're like, what's are they, like, what's happening? Yeah. So it was 4 months for us. Yeah. Before we actually got to.
Which is probably, honestly, a good thing. Because they gave you enough time.
To really make an educated decision and not just like, oh, well, the vibes are good.
The sex is good. Let's just be honest. Because once that, not saying it ever has to get bad, but once that become regular part of your routine, then you still got to find what else. And so y'all found what else.
We found the what else. We did.
And what's the what else?
I think the what else is kind of the fact that we're similar in all the right ways, but then we also complement each other. So what he doesn't have, I have. What I don't have, he has. And instead of like shaming each other for not having those things, we like, okay, well, you got it, so
we good.
Right. It doesn't matter. Right. Let's just put it together, and then we just
I love that.
Together. Yeah.
I love that. Keep working on that aspect, strengthening each other's gifts, and also recognizing where you weak, and so coming in and complimenting. That's really what a marriage is. I think a lot of times we talked about this a little bit these days, that you're always trying to find somebody that's like you, and it's just most of the time that just doesn't work.
Yeah, you need somebody that's got the better parts that you missing.
So let me talk about Amani now. Just Amani. What are some things that you're just passionate about? Like, what does Amani love to do? What are you wanting to do in the future? What does that look like?
Yeah, I'm really passionate about women, specifically Black women, of course. Being a Black woman, I just love seeing us win, and anything to create some sort of like solidarity to make us feel like, okay, we got this, because we have to kind of support each other. Everybody else requires so much from us, but nobody is giving the support to back us up. So it's like, you want me to do all the things, be all the things for everything and everybody, but when you gonna help me? When you gonna hold me up? I'm really passionate about supporting Black women, and I'm like a true girl's girl. Like,
Yeah.
I'm here for the girls. I want to support the girls. I want to amen the girls. I want to do everything for us because we deserve it, and we deserve somebody that's not trying to compete with us. You know, I feel like there's so much competition, but like my friend group, I don't like experience any of that. Like, there's no competition. We all want to see each other win, and we all want to do that together.
Yeah,
So,
and who's in your crew matters so
yes.
much. They will either uplift you or drag you down. And so I love that you have a strong, solid crew around you.
Yeah.
That is golden.
It's
okay.
important. Yeah.
So you passionate about women.
I'm also passionate about youth.
Okay.
I do a lot of mentorship, community service, and I feel like the age between 16 and 24 is a vulnerable age for our youth. And working in different nonprofits, I've been able to be that kind of relatable big sister in a sense. And you know how I don't know. In high school, I felt like adults kind of talked at us instead of actually having conversations to see what you're interested in and how they can support you based on your goals and what you like. And I want to be that for other youth because I wanted that. I wanted somebody I could connect with, especially not having my mom being as close with me. So I'm like, I want to be able to provide that for other people as well.
That's beautiful. So do you feel like she wasn't there or she wasn't as close because of how much she worked, or because you had younger siblings that kind of needed her attention a little bit differently? What do you think that disconnect happened?
I think there was a lot that was going on with her that she wasn't able to give me as much as I needed. Working, but also like her marriage was not in the best place. So I think she didn't have the mental capacity to pour into her children because she wasn't being poured into. And, I think she was suffering in a lot of ways and we had no idea. The disconnect was there, but we didn't know why she was disconnected from us. And I think if I had been able to have just a little bit of insight in what she was going through, then we could have maybe had a better bond, or at least I could have had a more understanding role in her relationship with us.
That's such a healed answer because you recognize that it hurt me as I grew up, our disconnect, but also our disconnect obviously happened because of where she was and what she didn't receive. And so knowing that now that you're a wife and a mom, knowing what you need and what you need to be poured into you for your cup to overflow onto your family is so important.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you giving her grace in that, which also give yourself some grace.
Okay.
Because, girl, how many times we think that, especially when we have small children, that we see everybody, or we think we see everybody doing so much, living the dream and traveling every week and, all this kind of stuff. And then you tend to kind of like put your life on side of theirs and say, well, I need to be doing all these things too, but also recognizing where you are. What do you feel like you have capacity to do in this season? Is so important. So I know I always like to say life is a journey and it's filled up all these moments that make up who we are today. So give me 5 life moments that you feel like has made you who you are today.
That's a good question. I think 5 life journey or life moments. First would be moving away to a new city after high school. That honestly kind of sparked Amani as a woman because I didn't have any family in New Orleans.
Wow. And then you moved to New Orleans.
Okay. Like way far from Chicago, a completely different city. The culture is so different here than it is in Chicago. And I was out here by myself. I'm like, girl, like to look back on it, I was like, that was crazy.
And you were 18 or 19?
17.
17.
I turned 18 in college in New Orleans.
Wow.
17 years old, moved across the city, not a real plan for real, just winging it.
Wow.
On a wing and a prayer.
But I think you knew You knew that you needed to experience a new city to be able to blossom and open up some new things inside of you.
I needed to just be by myself and not caring for other people, like my siblings. And, there was a part of me that had like some guilt. I don't know if that was like pre-mom guilt or
It's
something.
true. Survivor's guilt is a thing.
Yeah.
Not that they weren't surviving, but when you feel like you moving away
Leaving
to
them.
yeah.
Yeah, I definitely felt that. I'm like, should I have stayed to kind of support them through high school? But it was like I had to take care of myself. I had to put my mask on 1st before I could go back and support everybody else.
Yeah.
And that really shaped who I am, like as a person, being independent and maybe too independent sometimes.
Is
But
there such thing,
is
really?
it right?
Now, I mean, of course, it's important to allow people to hold up your arms. I'm gonna have to give you something that God gave me about you. It got reminded when you said about the really too independent. I'll tell you afterwards.
Okay.
I might tell you during.
Okay.
I might clue y'all in.
Now I'm like kind of like, wait,
Your
what is
interest
it?
peaked, huh? Okay. So what is your? You know what? I'm gonna tell you. So he reminded me this morning. I woke up of the story of Joshua. Whenever Moses gave him, over, and Moses had to hold up the staff for Joshua to go and defeat the Amalekites or whatever it is. But he had 2 people that he took up with him to hold the staff. But when his arms got tired, those 2 people literally went underneath his arms and held his arms up so the staff wouldn't go down. And so he was reminding me that it's so important that even though you do have this hyper independence, that you allow people to hold your arms up when you need it.
Yeah.
And
that's a good reminder.
Yeah, because the moment he put that staff down, they were being defeated, and so
they say, "Oh no, we got you."
Yeah. So you literally need help sometimes, and that's
absolutely
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So next life moment.
Oh yeah, next life moment. I would say probably having an arranged marriage.
I know we talked about that.
That was a pretty big moment for me. And it was not even just like marrying a stranger, but to have my privacy kind of invaded with like cameras in my life. I am not really an open person. And I know it seems that way on social media because I share a lot, but I've gotten more comfortable with being vulnerable with others. But it was really scary to, one, share my life with a stranger, but then also other strangers are watching now. And I think that just made me feel more, I had to trust myself a little bit more. And I think insecurities came into play because I'm like, are people going to receive me well? Is my husband, confident in this marriage? Does he like me? All of those things, because we didn't get to choose each other. So a lot of those moments when we're like in our early phases of like getting to know each other and we're fighting and you're insecure in those moments. I was insecure because I'm like, does he even like me? He didn't get to choose me. So like, is he okay with who was chosen for him? And I think that kind of like sparked a need for me to do a deep dive in myself because I'm like, this has nothing to do with him. We're fighting each other over stupid things, but really we just need to tap into ourselves and make sure that we good on our own, who we are as a person so that we could be better for each other.
Because I think people look at people on TV and they think that there's no insecurities, and so hearing that you have insecurities, the same fears and the same doubts and the same uncertainties that other people have is so important. She's a real person, y'all. Just a real down chick.
Just a regular girl out here trying to find love and trying to live my life. Yeah.
So what would be, you feel like, the next moment that's really defined who you are today?
Next moment I feel like would be me quitting my job to be a stay-at-home wife. Yeah. And then that turned into stay-at-home mom. But yeah, I think honestly I was just living a naive, frivolous life. And Woody was like, I got the bills, like my job was stressing me out. I was feeling like people were more putting on a facade at the nonprofit I was working for and not really caring about the students because they weren't student facing. You know, they weren't client facing, so they're doing all the policies and getting the grants, but not really caring about like who's receiving this support.
And that happens so much in nonprofits. People don't think that people look at nonprofit and think that means that, you know, they don't have really any money. You know, it's a small little, but nonprofits get a lot of money.
They get a lot of grants.
Now you do have to, you know, issue out those grants and, you know, send the money to the right places, but it's a lot of room for not doing the right thing
and neglect.
Yeah.
So me being client facing, I was just like, I'm seeing the back end and I'm seeing how that's affecting the young people, and I'm like, I'm so done with this. I'm like, so done. And he was like, well, just quit. I got us. And I'm like, okay, that sounds great. Let's do it. You know, like, and I just didn't really think further than that.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of woke me up after, because like I didn't quit my job. I didn't really plan. We trying to buy a house. I didn't think about all the things that came after me quitting my job. I just was ready to quit. And then that woke me up. I'm like, oh my God, I quit my job. What? And then also made me feel insecure again. Like, what am I bringing to the table now? I'm not a contributor in the finances. Like, what am I able to do for this family? Is he going to now be dictating everything? And it just kind of brought up a lot of things that he didn't even put on the table for me to pick up.
Yeah.
I was creating all of this narrative, and I'm like, girl, relax.
But probably life from what you've seen in your childhood potentially, or just what you've seen in other relationships, you do see that sometimes.
Yes.
So those are not, you know, invalid, but I love that he validated you in those moments, obviously, that, hey, I don't feel any of those ways.
We got this, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that kind of changed who I am as a woman, because like now I have to trust someone to support me financially. I have to release that sense of control because I've been on my own for all these years. Never had anybody paying my bills. My parents didn't pay my bills. You know, like I have been doing for myself for so long, and now to release that and allow somebody who I just met,
who you don't know,
you know, just literally just met you. It was a lot. It was a lot. And I mean, like, we're still working through all of that and how that works for our family, especially with having 2 kids now.
Yeah.
But, you know, I found new ways to support us financially and support our household further than finances, because that's not the only way that you contribute to a household.
Yes.
So I had to realize, like, what I'm bringing is
invaluable.
Equal, you know, like we are partners.
Yeah.
I'm bringing something different to the table, and had to be able to feel confident in that.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And then what do you feel like will be the next life moment?
The next life moment, like other than the other 2, yeah. So I kind of feel like Rain and Rise birth are the other 2 moments, and I know birthing seems like that could just be like one life moment, but I feel like they both birth 2 different women.
Oh, that's good.
I've been
Expound on that.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot because, so like I told you with Rain's birth, I didn't really trust my body completely, right?
Yeah.
But I thought I was ready, you know, like not ready necessarily to be a mom, because like when I got pregnant, I was not like excited or ready to be a mother, but I had in my mind like, oh, well, I'm gonna get ready, you know? Like I've got 10 months to build myself into the mom that I'm ready to be, okay? But in that, I really was just like faking it till I made it. You know, I didn't really know until Rye that I didn't know who I was for real still, or like I'm still becoming who I wanted to be. So like birthing Rain kind of put it in my mind that like, I know where I want to go. Let's just let's just do it,
Yeah.
And so I might not be there yet, but like I know what I need to do to get there. So
like
it's
awareness.
it's kind of just like I'm just gonna do it until I believe it. And that's kind of like who I was. So like I know what I want, I know what I need, I know what my baby needs, I know what my husband needs. And let's just get out there and try to make something work.
Happen.
Yeah, we're just making it work.
Yeah.
On a wing and a prayer. I'm still, I'm just winging it. And then with Rye, birthed the true confidence. Like, I don't have to prove anything to anybody. I am that girl. I know what everybody is asking of me, but I know what I'm going to give them. Like, you might want that from me, but I know what I'm going to give.
This is good.
And so, like, I'm more confident in, like, my abilities to be a person for somebody.
To be who you are.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. What do you believe about yourself now?
What I believe about me is that I'm enough and I don't have to prove that to anybody. And I think before I was trying so hard to prove it to my family, prove it to my friends that like I am worthy of attention or love, and I don't have to do that, I'm already that girl.
You are
already
that
enough.
girl.
Yeah.
Just by showing up of who you are.
Exactly.
Who you are.
I don't have to be anything but me.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Let me make sure I covered all of it. I know I asked a bunch of extra questions. And so I do want to ask you this, life is a journey again. And we're always journeying through something and we're always journeying to something. Yeah. So what are you journeying through right now?
I'm journeying through, I'd say, some mother wounds from like my relationship with my mom.
Yeah.
I'm journeying through what that didn't become, like what I wanted it to be and what it's not. And I'm journeying to a new freedom. I am excited for the part where I'm not looking or yearning for certain relationships.
Yeah.
What's for me is for me. The people that are for me are with me already. And I don't have to go looking or searching for those relationships just because they have a certain title.
That's good.
I'm just here and I'm accepting love from the people that are here with me.
So you talked a little bit about a mother wound. So what is that healing process? How does that look for you to heal through that?
It's been therapy.
Yeah.
I'm working through talking through that with Woody so that he can also be a support system for me. It looks like finding villages that can support me in those mother wounds. I don't have to be mothered by my mother to, to feel supported. There are a lot of people that have offered me mothering throughout the year. My aunts and my grandmothers and my friends have even mothered me in a lot of ways. So I'm just accepting that love from everybody and, being loved on just as much as I love on everybody else.
This is good. So your mom may watch this.
Yeah.
I want you to look in that camera and tell your mom what you would like her to know.
Mommy, I love you so much. No matter what, I'm always going to be here for you. And I know that you love me. And I hope that you know that nothing can change the way that I feel about you. I'll always be here to support you. And I'm proud of you for advocating for yourself. And I pray that you have everything that you need in order to feel like your best self.
Thank you. Absolutely beautiful. I think you needed that moment.
Yeah.
What did that feel like for you?
It's just kind of heavy because I've just always wanted her approval. And I think I just need to have my own approval. Like, I think it's just weird because it's your mom and you feel like, she's given so much for me. But it never seems like enough when I give. And I think we're just operating on like unrealistic expectations of each other and need to just let people be who they're gonna be.
That's good. We talked about that. Real healing happened for me as far as a mother wound when I really began to understand what my mom actually had capacity to give me. And then my expectation of what she had to give me changed.
Yeah.
And so then I was able to accept who she was. And it's almost, and this is not like a long time that I've come to this revelation. This has been maybe over the last couple of years that I have, but it's been so instrumental in my thought life and how I view myself and how I connect and relate to other people. Like that people pleasing behavior I exhibited really began to kind of diminish. And so it's always a work in progress. But the fact you have made a milestone today.
Yeah, thank you for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So I know that God is taking you somewhere, and we briefly discussed where you think God is taking you as well. So talk to us about where do you see, I guess, how do you see yourself supporting women? I know you talked about your passion being women.
I think God is shifting me into creating a space for us to feel safe. So what kind of community do we need as Black women or just as women, period? And it doesn't have to be about motherhood or who you are to anybody. I think it just needs to be about women being in community to support each other. And I'm being called to create that community for us. And I want to share just like my journey in hopes that it helps another woman to be able to honor herself and her own journey.
That's good because nobody else is an expert on your path except for you.
And that's for real. That's the truth.
You are your path expert, and you have made an amazing. Like, look at yourself, like, of what your story is, of your path. Like, keep walking. Because I cannot wait to see what Amani looks like even in a year from now.
Right, me either. Cannot wait, okay?
And I will tell you again, don't let your current circumstance downplay where you're going.
Thank you.
Because you're going somewhere.
Okay.
Yes.
Further.
And I think that's it. Any lasting words that you want to say to the people? Anything lasting you want them to know?
That everybody behind the camera is a real person. And just to remember and give people grace because we're all just trying to survive and live our best lives.
And we are.
We are.
We are. So thank you so much for watching this episode of Her Story with the beautiful Amani Randall. She has definitely shown up for herself today. And she has shown up for you all. And so definitely give her some likes and hearts and comments. And also this community that she's starting, let us know if you're ready to tap in so we can get a little pulse on the situation.
Yes, definitely.
Also, if you have not yet, grab your copy of Thrive Mommy, Discovering Your Identity in Motherhood. It is available on Amazon today if you are ready to discover your identity. And that's it. We out, y'all.
Yes.
This was fun.
Thank you so much. It was.
Love you, girly. Bye, y'all.
Good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I was not expecting to be crying on this couch, but here we are.
Here we are. Crying is something I only used to do in the shower. I think I said that.
Me too.
Yes. And the fact that you showed up for yourself and allowed yourself to work through that moment, like that is big. I'm very proud of you. Give me
Thanks, girl.
So yeah, it was. Thank you. My friends be like, you squeezing my